Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. I'm your host and your guide for the next 2 hours. We are here to look at life through a biblical lens, and I trust that we will somehow stumble into some things that maybe you hadn't thought of before. I don't know. For those of you who might be watching via Facebook, would you please send me a little note? Come over to the Bible Forum website, thebibleforum.net, and click on the chat room and tell me the sound is terrible, if it truly is. Last week it was really bad. I checked it at the end of the show, and it was I don't know, had some kind of a hollow something going on. I'm not sure what it was. I always delete that at the end of on Monday at some point and upload an edited version. The front's cut off, the back's cut off, and it's set up, and put it back so you don't lose anything. But if you're there on Facebook tonight, I really would love for you to be able to hear it and it not be all garbled and messed up. I'm assuming that was a one-off. I've never heard anybody complain about it before, and I don't know. Because I obviously can't watch it while I'm doing this. We have these issues that we have to go through. I can't see what I'm doing here. That's not it. It's this. Where is it? There, I guess I've already got it, don't I? That's not the way it works. Okay, can I get this? It's like that. That's the way it works. And now we have to get back to there. Okay. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about a whole lot of different things. If you got the email this week, and if you did not get it, please tell me. Send me an email. You can send it to me at the Bible Forum. What is it? It's Gmail. thebibleforum@gmail.com. I'll get that. I'll put you on the list. You get the email every Saturday. It tells you the topics, the things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things tonight. A lot of different kinds of things, perhaps. And we want you to be a part of it. In the category, I guess, of signs of the times, for want of a better phrase, we're looking at the return of our long gone, demised veterans, warriors, heroes from North Korea. The last week or two, this has been going on. And I don't know if you paid any attention, the caskets that were returned. I'm not sure if they were returned as caskets or whether they returned in little boxes. I saw somebody carrying small boxes, but then the next time I saw 8 guys carrying coffins. But this has been a 65-year event, and the families involved, it's got to be emotional. They've been through a tremendous turmoil. And so we're looking at what is an historic event. To honor these men, CNN gave the live event 50 seconds of coverage, 50. MSNBC ignored it altogether. And then they wonder why their ratings are in the dumper. That's anti-American. I don't care what your politics are. Come on, get a grip. A few weeks ago, Turkish courts released a North Carolina evangelical Presbyterian missionary from his 21-month imprisonment. They placed him under house arrest, and this was because of health concerns. He is being accused of working with a known terrorist and with terrorist groups. He will be wearing a monitor, a bracelet, until his trial in October. He's been in prison because of a failed coup attempt by a group whose leader is an American cleric. Now, the term cleric no doubt means he is Muslim. And what this has to do with the Presbyterians, the evangelical Presbyterians, is still something of a mystery. Most of us consider this a political move, something our president is having no part in, apparently. President Trump is demanding this man's release. The Turkish government seems to be going along with the request until it became clear that this missionary would not really be released. He's out of jail, but he's under house arrest. The man has worked alongside his wife in Turkey for 23 years. By this time, the Turkish people and their government clearly know who and what he is. The president over there, Erdogan's move, stimulated what the press calls a tense phone call between President Trump and himself. Trump thought they had a deal when they were together at NATO meeting earlier in the year. Vice President Mike Pence spoke about this man's case during a speech at the Ministerial to Advance Religious Freedom. He said that this man, his name is Brunson, is an innocent man, and that the move to house arrest was a welcome first step, but it's not good enough. He told the applauding audience that the administration has worked tirelessly for Brunson's release and that Brunson deserves to be free. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke with the Turkish foreign minister over the phone recently, discussing the threat of sanctions. And the Senate included an amendment proposed by Senators Jeanine Shaheen, a Democrat from New Hampshire, and Thom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, in the National Defense Authorization Act. They are suggesting we stop delivery on the F-35 Joint Strike Fighters that we've promised to give to Turkey. These two senators feel it inappropriate and dangerous to send these aircraft while the Turkish government continues to wrongfully imprison Americans as well as U.S. embassy staff. President Erdogan has not responded personally, but Foreign Minister Cavusoglu tweeted, quote, "No one dictates to Turkey. We will never tolerate threats from anybody. Rule of law is for everyone, no exception." Stay tuned. NBC News ran a piece this week, a promo for which seemed to condemn companies that gather financial data. The problem here? The people who gather the data know everything about you. They not only know about you, they then tailor policy premiums to your ability to pay. That's not fair. The man presenting this information demonstrated the more than 400 pages of data they collected on him. Everything from where he has lived, jobs he has had, loans he has had or has applied for, marital information, social information, internet usage, and on it went. And my comment is, you expected something different? Have you ever typed your name into a search engine? Reading this article, I did that. They know everything about me. It's not all that accurate, but they know where I have lived. They get fixated on Voorhees, New Jersey for some reason. I don't know what I did there. I was only there for a year. But they know where I came from, who I belong to, what I've been doing, where I pastored, what I'm doing now. They've got it all. In the Bible form, there isn't anything a secret. And every time you turn around, the bank or the insurance company or some merchant you're dealing with, now we were concerned about your safety, and I believe they are. But there is nothing sacred on the internet. I fully expect when I get so old and crusty that I can't do this anymore, I'm shutting her down. I'm not even going to have a smartphone. I'm out. If you're in, you're in. You don't want to be in? Get all the way out. Don't do your banking online. It's not that big a deal. Pastor Darrell Scott of Cleveland, Ohio, co-founded President Trump's National Diversity Coalition. He recently attended a White House meeting with several dozen inner city faith leaders. Did I mention Pastor Scott is a black man? The subject of discussion was prison reform and other outreaches that would benefit urban blacks. In this meeting, his message to them, this black pastor's message to these assembled folks is, quote, "This is probably going to be the most pro-black president I've seen in my lifetime. This president actually wants to prove something to our community, our faith-based community, and our ethnic community. The last president didn't feel like he had to." End of quote. He went on to say, "I've had the honor, the privilege to work with then candidate, now President Trump, and to observe him behind the scenes and have personal conversations with him. And people ask me, why do I defend him so vociferously? And I say, it's easy. Because I know him. And he has shown me his heart. And I know he has a heart for all Americans. And I'll say this administration has taken a lot of people by surprise, and it's going to surprise you guys even more." Scott said the Trump administration is, quote, "probably the most proactive administration regarding urban America and the faith-based community as there has ever been in his lifetime." And he says, "I will be 60 years old in December, but when I think back on this time, this is the most pro-black president that we have seen." He said Trump has the desire to address the issues of the black urban community, and he added that President Obama did not. The last president, he said, didn't feel like he had to, and he got a pass. At the meeting, the president pointed out that African American and Hispanic unemployment rates are at their lowest levels ever, and his prison reform effort focuses on making sure former inmates can find work. There is much ado being made, about just about everything, but this week about the president's daughter, Ivanka, taking what appears to be an opposite view regarding the separation of children from their parents at the border. What did she say? Well, what she said is what most of us would say. She said she didn't like the idea that children are separated from parents. However, she added, not every family appearing at the border unlawfully seeking asylum is a real family. The first half of the answer is made headlines all week. The second half, you have to tune in here to get it. I have talked to you over the years about the contemporary church, and in some regard I have mentioned the fact that people are abandoning the church. There are now some statistics that are being made public, and it does show a steady decline in the percentage of Americans who attend religious services. But the new survey casts light on the reasons, and a plurality say it is not because of a lack of belief. That was not shocking to me. Some parts of the rest of it are. As you dig into the details, the new survey was conducted over the internet December 4th through December 18 of last year, 2017. They did the survey among a nationally representative sample of over 4,700 adults. And it was being operated by Pew Research Center's American Trends panel. The survey by the Pew people found that while about 30% of those who attend no more than a few times a year say they're not believers, 30%, the much larger share cite practical reasons. Some dislike particular congregations. They haven't found a place to worship they like, or they dislike the sermoning. Others point to logistical factors such as being in poor health or not having the time to attend. The Pew folks noted that those who cite reasons to avoid church rather than a lack of belief are a fairly religious group. About 70% identify with a religion, including about 60% who claim to be Christian. Most of the respondents say religion is either very or somewhat important in their lives. More than half of those who do not attend church or another house of worship for reasons other than non-belief are women. And now they tend to be older women, less highly educated and less democratic compared with those who do not go because of a lack of faith. Meanwhile, according to Pew, those who refrain from attending religious services because they are non-believers are more highly educated, largely male, they are young, and they're Democrats. Pew found that overall the most common answer for not attending religious services is, quote, "I practice faith, my faith, in other ways," end of quote. I have my religion. Some 37% of those who rarely or never attend services selected it as a very important reason. About 25% simply said that they have not yet found a house of worship they like, and about 1 in 5 say they dislike the sermons. Now, inquiring minds want to know, and this inquiring mind wants to know, what about sermons don't you like? I don't think it's style. I don't think it's content. I think it's just the idea of a sermon. Now, if you've been watching this program for any length of time, it doesn't take very long. I don't do it quite as often as I used to, but it used to be a regular event when I had call-in, because people would call in and you get a wider range of interaction with different sorts of people. But as you notice on my website and on the email that comes to you, it features a picture of me. What am I doing? Well, clearly I'm sitting at this microphone and I'm pointing at you. You say, don't point at me. We don't like that. But that's sermonizing. Sermons, by definition, are information that is put together in a succinct form, hopefully intelligent and clear, but is delivered from a particular moral stance. And the whole idea of a sermon is, this is something that you need to know, because as you need to know it, this is something you need to do. Now that's just basic sermonizing. A sermon is information expecting a response. So it does not surprise me that a large percentage of Americans don't want somebody telling them what to do. Now, about 14% of them said they don't feel welcome. And my comment there is that that answer is largely bogus. If you are attending a church that is identifiably Christian, where somebody's going to preach a sermon at you, you're actually going to worship God, it's not going to be unfriendly. Now, I've been in church all my life, and there are people who come in late, sit in the back, and go home early, and then complain nobody spoke to them. I understand that. But generally speaking, if you come into church, you get there 5 or 7 minutes early so that you can find a seat and get comfortable, maybe go to the bathroom before the thing starts and all that. Somebody's going to talk to you. And as you go out the door, there will be a pastor standing there that will give you a warm handshake to ask about you and maybe even come see you that week. What all this means is that we're talking here about people who are clearly not feeling comfortable in church. And one can only wonder why. I want to talk to you next about a new book that's out. Dinesh D'Souza has published a new book, and there's a movie that comes along with it. I have subtitled it The Hidden American Story. And we'll talk about that next. Stay tuned.